Tell everybody.
Who cares if it's fact-based or not? Yeah, right.
Okay, we're on. I think it's okay. So, start to sit comfortably. You know, if you're wanting to sit cross-legged, if you want to stretch your legs out, do. And if you need a blanket to sit on a blanket. It is Tuesday the 23rd of March, and we're here to do yoga flow. So, be mindful, and like if you need to shake out a little bit, get comfortable in how you're sitting, do it. If you need to shift around a little bit, take your time. And then just close your eyes and enjoy feeling your breath coming in and going out through your nose. So allowing yourself to feel the breath coming in and going out through your nose. Imagine the breath is balanced between the sides of your nose if you can. So that you feel the breath coming evenly in and out. And even if you're kind of stopped up in one side, still just imagine that you're breathing in and out through each side of your nose equally. Let yourself accept the breath coming into the belly, feeling the belly rise and expand a little bit. Let your shoulders soften down away from your ears. And feel your face starting to soften, letting go through your jaw, all around your eyes, all around your mouth. Way forward here. Now it depends on how you're sitting, right? But let yourself come into a seated forward bend. You can have your hands give you support. You don't have to go very far. If your back feels better just to go a little ways, do. If you feel like you want to go farther forward, by all means do. See about letting your head release, so you're certainly try not to lift your chin forward and shorten the back of the neck, but let there be length. Good, and then let's move over towards our left. So you can let yourself just walk out over towards that left thigh a little bit. Draw your right sitting bone back a bit. Feel that a little more on the side waist there. And then we'll come back through center, and we're going to go to the right. And again, as you ease your way over, just be mindful, feel the left sitting bone drawing back a little bit, a little more into that left side waist. And then we'll come on back into center again. And let's walk our way on up. Use your hands to help you if you need. Coming all back up, all the way upright. Let your arms come on out beside you. And let's inhale both arms all the way out and up overhead. And let our exhale bring our hands down together in front of our hearts. And now clasp your hands, squeeze your palms together a little bit, feel your biceps, feel everything engage up into your shoulders. And then turn your palms away from your chest and press on forward now, feeling the hands, the wrists. And then let your right hand come just a little bit higher, not much, and then left. It's like you're just kind of just barely moving one heel of the hand up a little bit higher than the other, and just kind of go back and forth just a little bit. And then finish off back at center. Press out equally into the heels of the hands. Start to rise your arms on up. Now everybody's shoulders are different. If you need to stop with your arms forward, do. If you like to continue upward to bring the upper arms by your ears, you can. Not necessary to go that high. And then just move a little bit over to the left, just coming into really a little bit deeper into your side stretch there by coming a little sideways. And then then come on back up to the top and we'll go over to the other side. So pressing into the heel of that left hand up there. And then we'll come on back upright. Bring your hands down, keep them clasped behind your head now, right in the back of your head. And press the back of your head into your hands. On your next exhale, draw your elbows in like your arms are coming in towards your head here. And kind of squeeze a little bit. And then as you inhale, open back up into those wide elbows, pressing the back of your head into your hands. And then again, as you exhale, drawing the elbows towards each other, kind of coming in towards your head. And then inhale and reach the elbows back wide. Good. And then we'll unfold our arms on down beside us. And we're going to switch the cross of the leg. So bringing the other leg in front if you were cross-legged. And then from here, let your arms come on out beside you. And let's inhale into the length of the spine. Now, if you're cross-legged, flex your feet, press into the outside edges of your feet. And inhaling here again at center. And on the exhale, we're going to twist towards our left. Now, don't get too easy here. Inhale into the length of the spine again. Because when you exhale, you're going to come on back, swivel all the way around into the other direction. So your breaths are going to carry you back and forth. Inhale into the length of your spine. Exhales carry you around. So this all depends on how deep and long your breaths are. So just start to follow your own breath. Each exhale brings you around to the other side. Now the next time you exhale, come on back and stop at center as you unwind on back around here. Good. Fingertips out onto the floor or arms just a breath away from you here. Let's inhale both arms all the way out and up. And on our exhale, let our hands come down together in front of our hearts. Lift your elbows just for a second. Feel your hands coming a little more firmly together. And then just let your elbows soften down. Feel the connection through each of your fingers, your thumbs, your palms. And then bring your left arm on top of your right. Give yourself a little bit of a hug there. For a second, look down. And if it's okay for your back, let your elbows go down a little more. So you round a little bit into that upper back there. And then next time you inhale, roll back up to look forward. Now you can stay hugging or you can come into your eagle or half eagle wrap. That's up to you. Just be mindful. Let it feel good. Feel space between your ears and your shoulders if you can. And then we'll unfold our arms. Let the hands come on down beside you for a breath. And then we'll bring our right arm on top of our left. And again, hug yourself wherever feels comfortable. Let your elbows mount down. Let your chin come down for a second. And again, if you want to roll a little bit in the upper back down, do. If that doesn't feel good, don't do it. And on the next inhale, bring your gaze back forward. Here you are all the way upright. And again, you can head towards your eagle arm wrap or half wrap if you choose. Remember, you can always slide the back of your left hand to the outside of your right elbow, or you can stay hugging. Feel the breath coming into between the shoulder blades on your back. Good. Stay here for a second. See if you can turn your head to look to the left. And then come on back into center and see if you can slowly keep turning your head now towards the right. And then release and come on back into center. And we're going to unfold our arms, release them on down beside us. Shake everything out just a little bit. Move through your hands if you need to. We're going to come around towards our hands and knees, right? So be mindful if you need to move and wiggle anything else before you do that. Grab what you need. So you know if you need a blanket for underneath your knees, use it. Once you get yourself down there, right away send your right foot back on the floor. Curl your toes under. Let yourself just find a little bit of back of your right leg there, opening up. Good, and then we'll just switch. So left foot comes back. Curl the toes under, open up the back of the leg, engage your belly. Good, and then come on back, knees underneath you and hands underneath your shoulder, knees under your hips. And see if you can just, and you're not going to look, I'm just going to circle my hips a little bit. So I actually, now if this bothers your knees, by all means don't do it. But it also comes into changing how you are on your wrists. So if your wrists bother you, come to fist if you need. But I'm just circling around. Hips come forward to one side, back behind my knees a little bit, and then forward again. Just real easily. And then when I'm ready to switch directions, I stop where I want and let myself go the other way. Good. And then I'm going to finish and come on back into center and move on up into your cat pose here now. Press into your hands equally. Feel the tops of the feet on the floor if you can. And when you're ready, inhale your way back through into your cow pose. So start to move with your own breath now. And whatever tempo feels really good to you. Remember, and you don't have to move with every breath. So take your time, let it feel really like you're allowing your spine to just gradually wake up and the muscles alongside of your spine. Good. We'll finish off the one we're on and come on back to a more neutral spine. And once you're there, let's bring our left foot forward and come on into our first lunge. So you know if you need your blocks, grab your blocks, left foot forward. And go ahead and come on up with that back knee. Get your alignment here in your lunge, however high you want your hands to be. Be comfortable in your wrists. So if you need to switch your hands around on whatever surface you're on, you can. You know, you can be fingertips, you can be flat hands, you can be fists. Feel that inner right heel reaching directly behind you. Let yourself find that nice length through the back body. Beautiful. We're going to switch sides. So however you like to switch sides, stepping forward or stepping back. And again, feel that inner left heel now, so you feel more length in the inside of that left leg. So imagine that actually that your left inner thigh is kind of reaching up towards the ceiling a little bit. And we're going to switch again. This time, once you get your pose set there, you feel really good about your lunge, bring your left hand on up to your thigh, right to the outside of your left thigh, and then roll up into a little twist here. Let your hand just stay there on your thigh. Lengthen out through the top of your head. And then bring your left hand on back down. We're going to straighten the left knee out. Let the right heel descend directly behind your foot. Now, this is all optional. You can lift up just your toes of your left foot if that feels good. Feel the arch lifting up. Spread the toes a little bit there. And now coming up to just your heel with the left foot coming off the floor is another option. Only if you want to do that. If that's too much on your hamstring, don't do it. And then we'll bring the foot on back down, toes on back down, bend that left knee, come into your lunge again. We are going to switch. So right leg comes forward again, finding that alignment in your lunge where you feel really good to be. And then again, right hand comes right kind of to the outside of your right thigh. Start to think of drawing your left ribs over towards that right inner thigh, really. Let yourself come into that twist. Stay as level as you can there in your hips. If you kind of press your thigh there of your right leg into your hand a little bit, you might get a little bit more engagement there. And then come on back down with that right hand. We're going to straighten the right leg out. Left heel again descends directly back from your foot. If you can lift your right toes up off the ground, do. Spread them out if that feels good. Let yourself feel the arch lifting up the four corners of the feet into the ground. And now the lifting of the right foot up to be on your right heel is totally up to you. Again, just be mindful. Good. And now bring the foot on back down. Toes come last there. And then we'll bend into that right knee, coming back to lunge. And let's step forward from here. coming on into our standing forward bend. Feet hips distance apart and parallel. Whatever support you need, use it. You know that. So let yourself come into your forward bend. Elbows above the knees if you need. Hands on blocks if you want to. And once you're there, kind of shift around a little bit. Let yourself shift a little bit forward and back, maybe even side to side. And then get centered between your feet. And now see if you can let your torso go a little bit side to side, but you're not really moving from the hips down, right? But you're just going to let your torso go just a little bit one side to the other. Let your head hang if you can, unless it bothers your back. And then come on back into center again. Nice full breaths now. Watch your breaths all the way in, all the way out. Feel your sitting bones over your heels. Good. One more breath. And we'll bring our hands up to our hips now. We're going to rise straight on up to standing, feet equal in the floor. Let's inhale our arms all the way out and up. And on our exhale, let our hands come down together in front of our hearts. So coming into your mountain pose. Now take your time. Adjust however you need to. If you need to walk a little bit, get yourself to look down at your feet if you need to. Bring your hands together there in front of your heart when you're ready. And just enjoy feeling yourself growing up from the feet, really. So feet equal into the floor. You can lift your toes up if that helps you really to find those four corners of the feet. Imagine your arches rising up. Toes can softly come back down to the floor and start to feel the thighs now, lifting upward, creating space in your knees. Tailbone dropping down towards between your heels. Just allow your body to stack itself up. Nice, and then we'll let our arms come on down beside us and inhale our arms all the way out and up overhead. And on the exhale, bend your knees as you come on forward into that standing forward bend. And let your next inhale help you find a nice long back. And we'll step the right foot back to come into lunge. And inhale, exhale into that downward facing dog pose. So take your time, you know that. Walk if you feel good to bend a knee at a time. That enables you to get a little more easily into your dog do. Elbows hug inward. Feel that sense of reaching equally back through your sitting bones. And now as you draw your awareness to your elbows hugging in again, see if you can imagine your feet pressing away from each other like you're trying to make your mat wider with your feet. And on the next inhale, we'll come on out to a plank. Nice strong plank here. Engage your belly. Sitting bones reach for your heels. And the lower down, you know you can come down however you choose. Knees can come down first. You can go through that half push-up. You can come through a full. And then release your arms down alongside you. Turn your palms down towards the floor. And on your inhale, let your head and your hands rise up a little bit. Your chest rises up just a little bit. Feet are still on the floor. And then we'll lower back down. Bring your hands back by your chest. And we're going to make our way back into down dog. Whether you come through a full half push-up or through your hands and knees. And then we'll bring our right foot forward to come into lunge. And we'll come all the way back into standing forward bend. Let your knees bend a little bit. Feel your belly want to come right to your thighs. Let your head hang. If you're able to, bring your hands up onto your low back and clasp them. Let them rest there. If that bothers your back, don't do it. And then feel your breaths. Feel those inhales coming into the ribs. Imagine on your exhales that your head wants to just get a little closer to the ground, the top of the head does. One more breath. And then we'll bend our knees. We're going to rise on up. Once we're up here, let's inhale both arms all the way out and up. And now, lower your left arm down and let your left hand come behind you. Bend your right elbow. Let your hands come however close together they want to be on your back there. And just let yourself take a couple of breaths here. So feeling that sense now of like your heart is coming a little bit forward. So, you know, the roundness is hard to do when you have your arms back like this, that roundness in the upper back. So let the natural body curves come into play here. Full breaths. Good. And then unfold the arms. Let's rise the left arm up as the right arm comes down. Bend that left elbow as you bring your right hand behind you. Again, you might want to reach your hands closer together. You might not. Keep your gaze forward. Keep that idea of the heart being a little bit forward. Feel the feet equaling the floor. Just make sure you're not tucking your tailbone forward. Feel your tailbone reaching down towards between the heels, behind the heels even a little bit. Good. One more breath. And then we'll unfold our arms back down beside us. We're going to inhale both arms all the way out and up. On the exhale, come forward with a flat back. Stay when you're parallel to the floor. Reach out through your arms like they're airplane wings. Reach back through your tailbone. Bend the knees as much as you need, like your belly might come all the way to your thighs here. Just enjoy. Feel the legs. Shift your weight a little more to your heels for a second. And then come back to where you feel equal between the heels and the balls of the feet. One more inhale. And on the exhale, we're going to fold forward. Let your next inhale help you find a nice flat back. And we'll bring the left foot back to come into lunge. And inhale. Exhale into your downward facing dog pose. Spread those fingers nice and wide. Really feel like you're reaching your pinky fingers and your thumbs down into the floor. And then go to your ring fingers, press them down, and then your middle fingers, press them down, and then your pointer fingers. Now elbows hug in. Let your next inhale bring you to plank. From this plank, we're going to reach right back into down dog. Now if you had to move your feet from your plank, try to get yourself right here, right now in your dog, so you don't have to move your feet to come to plank. So on your next inhale, come on out to that plank pose. And then we're going to lower down. Again, knees first if you need. Elbows right by the ribs. And let's come into a little cobra. You can go higher if you choose. You can stay low. You can press into your hands if you want to, bringing yourself up higher. Elbows hugging in. So just be mindful. Try to let yourself open up the front body here and the back body. And then we'll come on back down to the floor. And we'll make our way back into down dog however we choose to get there. And let's let the left foot come forward to find lunge here. And then we'll come on back into our standing forward bend. If you're okay to hold your elbows, go for it, right? If you know that doesn't work for you, use support. Easy breaths. Let your jaw go and let your face feel soft. Really, every exhale, just imagine your face relaxing more and more and more. And then we'll bring our hands up to our hips. We're going to rise straight on up to standing and inhale our arms all the way out and up. And exhale, bring your hands down together in front of your heart. Enjoy a couple of breaths here in mountain pose. We'll start to let our breath lead us now for a couple of sun salutations. So releasing your arms on down beside you now. Let's inhale both arms all the way out and up. And on the exhale, bend the knees and come on into forward bend. Let your inhale lengthen out your spine. Exhale, right foot back to lunge. And inhale. Exhale into your downward dog. Let your inhale carry you to plank. Your exhale will lower you down. And inhale into your cobra of choice. Exhale back to down dog. Inhale. Exhale right foot forward to lunge. And inhale. Exhale to your standing forward bend. Bend the knees. Rise all the way up to the top of the breath. And let your exhale bring you forward. Inhale into that long back. Exhale left foot back to lunge. And inhale. Exhale into your down dog. Let your inhale carry you to plank. Exhale will lower down however you need. And inhale into your cobra. Exhale back into down dog. Inhale. Exhale left foot forward to lunge. And inhale. Exhale to your standing forward bend. Bend the knees, rising all the way up to the top. And on the exhale, we'll come forward. Let your inhale lengthen your spine. We're going to come to down dog. So take yourself back to your down dog, however you want to get there. Walk a little bit, wag your tail. Actually, glance at your hands. You can kind of come forward a little bit. Make sure you're equal with your hands there on the mat. Spread the fingers, and then reach back. Look back again towards your feet. Let your head hang for a second. Let yourself really release, if you can, and feel the weight of your head. Good. Let the body calm down a little bit, the heart rate calm down a bit. And then we're going to bring our left foot forward. We're coming up for warrior one. Have both your blocks handy here. So rising on up into warrior one, let yourself bring your arms forward. Turn your palms towards each other in front of you there. And let yourself just imagine again that the heart is kind of leading you a little bit, right? So you're not collapsing into your chest. It's like the heart is coming forward a little bit. And then bend your elbows, bring your hands to clasp behind your head and hug your elbows in towards your face like we did earlier. And then see if you can just let the elbows rise up a little higher. They're still hugging in a little bit. You're pressing the back of your head into your hands. And now see if you can widen the elbows out like we did before earlier when we were warming up. Feel the back of the head coming into your hands, but now your elbows are reaching sideways. And you know, you can look up or not. That is totally up to you. Enjoy coming into your warrior one. Really feel grounded equally through your feet. Feel the feet gently pressing away from each other. Engaged up into your hips. And then bring your gaze back forward. Unfold your arms on down beside you. Let's bring our hands behind us and clasp them. We're going to straighten that front knee out. Square your hips off. Bring that right hip pointer around. If you need to adjust your back leg, do. And we're going to come on forward. So thighs are going to lift up towards the hips. You know, you can go 2 inches and be happy. You can go all the way to be parallel to the floor if you want. Totally up to you. If you like to continue on and fold over your leg, you can. You can bring your arms off your back if you want to. Let yourself release there. Or not. And then we're going to release the hands on down. Bring yourself support either on the blocks or the floor with your hands. And start to extend now into the spine long. Feel your thighs lifting up towards your hips. Feel equal through the sides of your body. Bring your left hand up to your left hip. And then just roll that left shoulder up a little bit. You can have your hand just resting there on your low back. You can stretch the arm up if you want. Your revolved triangle. Feel that back foot fully on the floor, remember. And then we'll go ahead and bring that left hand on back down. Now from here, we're going to bend the front knee. And we're going to come forward into a warrior three. So set your blocks out there, right? Any height you want. And then just launch yourself on up. Rise that right leg up. Toes are going to face down. Now for a second, bend both your knees. Let your back knee be bent too, and their supporting knee is bent. Take your time. And then extend both legs long. Keep the right pinky toe facing down towards the ground. See if you want to bring your left hand up to your left thigh. And then see if you want to reach your left arm forward, coming into extending. Now you can bring your gaze even a little more forward if you want, lifting up just a little higher in the upper body. And then and bring your hand on back down. And we're going to step the right foot back and come back into lunge. So you can have your blocks come on back with you. And we'll come on back into down dog. Once you're in down dog, walk a little bit. And then let yourself bring your left leg up in the air behind you. Bend the left knee and then open the left hip. So think about stacking your left hip on top of your right. You can look under your left arm. Just feel really good there. Good. And then bringing the foot on back down, coming back to dog. And you're welcome to come out to a plank and move through to a back bend, however you choose. If you want, you can put your knees down if you'd rather. So moving through however feels good. Good. And then we'll meet back in down dog. And then from here, we're going to bring the right foot forward. Coming up for that warrior one. So again, you might have to adjust to get your blocks closer if you need them. Let yourself come on forward. Come on up, Bring the arms forward. Now once you kind of get your feet set, your arms are forward, palms are facing each other. Again, feel your shoulders over your hips, right? Try not to roll forward. Try not to lean back. Find that real central place where it feels very good. And then bend your elbows, bring your hands again behind your head. And bring your elbows inward. And then let the elbows rise up a little bit. And it feels so good because you can press your head into your hands and that just makes you engage your core body, right? Even if you didn't want to, you'd have to do it. And then you can separate your elbows wider. Feel that sense of openness here through the chest. Beautiful. Even weight between your feet. One more breath. And then come back upright. Unfold your arms. Bring your hands behind you and clasp them. Straighten that right knee. Start to draw that left hip pointer around square. And then again, start to ease your way forward. Thighs are lifting up towards the hips. And imagine really that your heart's leading you here, right? Even if you just stay up higher or you stay parallel to the floor, let yourself just enjoy using your legs here. Fold over if you want. Arms coming off the back if you choose. And then release the hands on down. Find how you want support under your hands for your pyramid. Adjust your stance if you need to. And now lengthen out the spine. Feel equal as you can between the sides of the body. And then we'll bring our right hand to our right hip. And again, rolling that shoulder up. You can just keep your hand down. You can stretch your arm up if you want to. Just enjoy coming into really a nice stretch for the outside of that right leg, isn't it? You might not call it nice. One more breath. And then allow that right hand to come on back down. And we're going to bend the front knee from here. Again, blocks come out and launch yourself on up into that warrior three. Get your blocks right underneath your hands. Once you get up onto that right leg, bend both your knees a little bit. Doesn't matter how much, just let it feel good. And then when you're ready, straighten those legs out. If you need to, look back at your left foot. You want the toes to face down. You want to be level in your hips and square. If your right hand can come up to your right thigh, do. And then, of course, if you want to reach forward with that right arm, you can. Good. And then letting the right hand come back down. One more breath here. And then we're going to reach back into lunge again. So letting yourself come on back into that lunge. And then back into your downward facing dog pose. Find your dog. Bend both your knees a little bit here. Really let yourself reach back through your sitting bones. And then we're going to let the right leg come on up in the air and bend the knee. And we're going to open the hip. So you can kind of look under your right arm if you want. Totally up to you if you want to look under your arm. You can stay looking back at that left foot. And then release to bring that foot back down. And you're on your own. If you decide you want to do child's pose, come down and do child's pose, right? You can always rest in your pose of a child. Get out of your hands if you need to. Good. And we're all going to make our way back into downward facing dog pose. Good. And let's bring our left foot forward. Have your blocks handy again. We're coming up for warrior 2 this time. So take your time. Get that right foot aligned back there. Get your heels aligned. Let yourself bend that front knee. Start to reach your arms on up, straight out from your shoulders, reaching out through the fingertips. Let the hands rise a little higher. Feel your shoulders melting down. And as you bring the hands just to the place where when you look out over that left hand, it's really easy. It's easy for your neck. Don't feel like you're lifting your chin up. You're not tightening the back of your throat. In fact, there's this sense of lift in the back of your throat here. Fingertips reaching as far away from you as you can. So you almost imagine you're being stretched out, right? One more breath. And then we're going to straighten the left knee out, and we're going to bring the left hand down for triangle. So where you put this hand, totally up to you. You can use a block. You know you're more than welcome to use the leg or use the floor if you want to go lower. Take your time. Arm can stay straight up from your shoulder if you're okay to do that. And see if you can feel those thighs just lifting up towards the hips easily. Lengthening out through the top of your head. And be easy in your neck. If you need to look down at your left foot, do it. If that releases your neck, or looking forward, sometimes looking up feels good. One more breath. And then we're going to turn to look at the floor. We're going to come back into a lunge briefly. From the lunge, we're going to walk around into a wide-legged forward bend. So let yourself take your time, coming on around. Bend your right knee once you kind of get situated with your feet. And then switch and bend your left knee. And then bend your right knee again, straighten your left leg out, but walk your hands over towards the left. So you're kind of walking over, not towards the foot, but out in front, way out like a foot or two in front of your left foot. And then walk the hands back, bend the left knee, let the right leg come straight, and walk your hands out a ways over to the right, but out in front. Let your heart melt down a little bit. Good, and then come on back into center with the hands, and let's walk forward like we're coming out to a plank. So your legs are really wide, and you're coming out like you're doing a plank. You can stay right there. You can do a little push-up if you want to. You can even let the hips come down, kind of like you're coming into a little bit of an up dog if you want. Just play a little bit there. And then we'll reach back again with the hips. Walk your hands on back. And take your time to come into where you want to set up to be in this pose for a few breaths. So if you need to grab your blocks, use them. If you feel like you want your hands to be between your feet or on your ankles or behind you, see if you can. Let yourself now release through the upper body. If you can feel the weight of your head, and focus on softening through your face and your jaw. And just follow your breaths in and out. Good. One more nice full deep breath. And let's walk ourselves on back out. So we have a nice long back. And walk back to our left foot. Come on back into lunge. And then we'll make our way back into downward facing dog pose. And again, you're on your own. You want to do vinyasas or kriyas, do them. You feel like you'd rather stay in dog, work a little bit just holding your dog and being with your breath. Maybe there's something else that feels good to you. Good. And finish off the one you're on. We're going to meet back in down dog. And we'll bring the right foot forward. We're coming up for warrior two. Again, you might need your blocks handy there. Line up your heels. Let yourself feel that alignment of that front, that right knee there. And again, floating the arms on up and out, a little higher than your shoulders. So see if you can let your shoulders really soften down as you reach out through the fingertips. Lower the hands to where you don't have to lift your chin up to look over the top of your hand, maybe even right over the top of that middle finger. Feel the fingertips reaching away from the midline. Feel the feet gently pressing away too, away from each other. Like you're trying to lengthen your mat. Feel that engagement in your hips. And let's straighten that right leg out. Bring the right hand down for a triangle. Again, whether you use your leg, whether you use a block, whatever surface you want to use, right? Feel those thighs engaging up towards the hips. Now, if your hand is right up there above your shoulder, imagine you're reaching up through those fingertips. Then imagine you're pressing your hand just a little bit forward. And that might enable you to want to turn to look up towards your hand. If it doesn't, don't do it. Remember, you can look down at your foot. One more breath here. Feel those thighs lifting up, creating space in your knees. Good. Let's turn to look down towards our right foot. Bring that left arm on down. Come on back into lunge here. And then we'll walk around into that wide-legged forward bend. Now, once you start walking, we're going to keep walking towards the left. So if you need to kind of adjust your feet as you walk on over towards your left foot, do. And then stay on the left. Just breathe. Let yourself, doesn't matter how far you go. Just stay there and let yourself breathe. And then we'll walk back through center, and we're going to walk over to the right again. It does not matter how far you go. You can hold on the outside of that right ankle if you want. Put your right hand on that outside of the ankle and your left hand on top, or you can keep your hands forward. And then come back into center with the hands. And now turn your toes out a little bit, so most of us about 45 degrees. And bend your right knee. Keep your left foot on the floor at first. And then come back through center and bend your left knee. Let your right leg stay long. Keep your foot on the floor there. Oh, doesn't that feel good? And then come back to bending the right knee. Now, if you want to lift the left foot up and be on your heel, you can. You can put your left hand more behind you. Shift your hips down, too, if you want to. That's up to you. Don't go any deeper than feels good to you. And then we're going to come back through center, and again, bend the left knee. If you want to lift the right foot up, be on the heel of the right foot, you can. If your right hand can kind of go back behind you, that will give you support if you want to shift your hips down. And then we'll come on back, and we're going to bring our toes back to where our feet are more parallel. And ease your way in, again, to where you feel like you want to be able to come into your breath without any stress, right? Really letting the upper body go. See if you can focus for the breath to come into your rib cage. Good. One more breath. And then take your time. We're going to walk ourselves out so we can walk back to that right foot to find lunge again. And we'll come on back into down dog. Last vinyasas or kriyas if you choose to do any. You can come out through your plank to a back bend. You can stay in dog. You can come out in plank and stay there. You can put your knees down. Good. And then meet back in down dog if you're not already there. And from here, we're going to come forward. So whether you step or jump your way forward, let yourself walk on up to get your feet underneath you or jump on up. Come in to bending your knees, if you can, and don't do this, of course, if it hurts your back. But if you can hold on to the front of your ankles and bend your elbows to put your forearms on your shins, which will support a long, low back there, lengthened out. You can let your head hang if you want. Good. One more breath. And then we'll let our hands come back up to our hips. And we're going to rise on up to standing. And let's inhale our arms all the way out and up. And on our exhale, let our hands come right down to be in front of our chest. Find your mountain pose. If you need to shift around a little bit, do. And if you're swaying a little bit after all that, just let yourself do it, because the body will really want to find its alignment. Give it a little time. Feel length in the back of your neck and your throat. And feel the air all around you. Let it feel really good. To feel like the air around you is supporting you. So it's very easy, effortless to be in your mountain pose. And then we'll go ahead and let our arms come down, shake out a little bit, move however you want. And we're going to bring our mats into a wall, right? So take your time, bring your short-edged mat into the wall. And once you get there, you might want to take a block. You might not want to use it, but you can have it just in case, right? And bring the block as you bring your left hand towards the wall, between your left foot and the wall. I like lowest height for eagle. You don't even have to use it. You know that. So, if you can, as you shift your weight to your left foot, and you bring your right thigh over the top, if you have the block there, maybe just putting the toes on the block, keeping your legs straight for a minute might feel good. And you may decide to stay right there, right? You can stay here with your hands to your heart. If your knees really bother you, when you start to bend that left knee and shift your hips back like you're about to sit in a chair, just don't do it, right? The other thing, of course, is if you're a rapper, if you can wrap your right foot all the way around behind your calf or your ankle, you can. That's up to you, but be mindful of your knees for that too. You can always leave your toes on the block. Now, if you want to bring your hand off the wall, you can bring hands to your heart, or you can bring your left arm over your right and come into your eagle wrap with your arms and your legs at the same time. Or not, right? If your toes are on the block, you may decide you want to lift them off the block a little bit and just play with that. Good. And then we're going to release and come on back up. And we are going to switch to the other side. So again, if you cross the left thigh over and your right knee just does not want to do that bend, you can practice here. This uses the core. It also gets into the outside of that right leg. You don't want to sit back into that right hip. You want to stand up and really lengthen the front of the right side of the body here. Now, if you want to bend the knee and shift your hips back, toes can stay on the block. You might decide you want to bring your hands to your heart if you can use the block there for a little support. You might want to bring your right arm on top of your left and come into your eagle arm wrap. Again, if the toes are on the block, that can be really helpful. You might want to lift the toes up off the block. If you've got your foot wrapped around behind you, again, just be really mindful of your knees in this pose. Good. And then we're going to release. Let yourself come on back out of that. Nice. Move around a little bit. Walk around if you need to. We're going to come down onto our mats. We're going to be on our bellies, with our forearms on the floor into a little sphinx. So I'm going to stay turned this way just because it'll be better. Come on up to your forearms into your sphinx. Let yourself, once you get there, widen your feet just a little bit if you can. See how it feels to let your heels come down inward towards the ground. And if your hips and legs are saying, oh my gosh, no way, don't do it. Let's see if you can. Now, if you need to go lower with the body, do. Bring your elbows more towards your waist. Let yourself just come lower. Or bring the arms overhead and be lower. And see if you can let yourself focus on releasing the hips here. So you're trying not to grip your buttocks. Good. Now, we're going to bring our feet back in closer so that they're right underneath us. You're on the tops of your feet. Clasp your hands together. Now, you can come up into a half forearm plank, hugging your elbows towards each other. Maybe even imagine you're drawing yourself towards the front of your mat so your elbows come back a little more behind your shoulders. Engage your belly. Or you can lift your knees up, come onto your toes here, come onto your full forearm plank. Good. We're going to come down and we're going to roll to our left side. We're going to go into a forearm plank on our side. So your left elbow is right underneath your shoulder. Let yourself be easy here. Now, you can do any number of things. You can lift up into your full one if you want, right? Or you can let the right foot be on the floor in front of you. Lift your hips up and let that right foot give you a little help when you reach up. Or you can not reach up at all. You can keep your hips on the floor, right? You be where it's okay for you. Good. We're going to come down. We're going to roll to the other side. And we're going to be up, right elbow underneath our shoulder. And again, you decide. You can stay right here and press down. Try to let yourself kind of release the top of your shoulder. You can have long legs. Lift up into that full side forearm plank. You can put the top foot on the floor so that you give yourself support there. Good. From there, we're going to come on back down right onto our bellies. Make a little pillow with your hand. Rest your forehead for a second there. Good. And now, bend your right knee. Flex your right foot. Start to float your head a little off your hands, right? Now, some of you might even want to come all the way up to your forearms again. We're going to go into a little half bow pose here. This is a half bow right here. You can have your head down. You can have your head up. You can reach your right hand back if you want to. Get a hold of the top of the foot or the ankle. If you have your foot and you want to draw the heel in towards your buttocks a little bit more and that feels good, do it. And then you can press your foot into your hand like you're trying to lengthen your leg out. And that really opens the right side of the chest. And now we're going to release. Come down to switch legs. Again, you can put your head down, bend your left knee, flex the foot and stay there, just barely rising your head off your hands. Or you can use your right forearm to give you a little support. Reach back with your hand, get your foot or your ankle. Pull the heel in if that feels good. And then press the foot into the hand like you're trying to straighten your leg out. Feel the quad engage. And then we're going to release. Let yourself bring your legs long. Stack your hands up, rest your head again. And let the legs totally relax, right? So for some of us, that means our heels hike outward. If that feels good, do it. If not, don't. But try to really release from your legs all the way up into your hips. Breathe into your low back. And now, for your last little back bend here, you can decide how big you want to make it. You can come into locust, reaching your arms down alongside you, floating up into locust pose. Or some of you might want to reach back with both hands, get hold of your feet, press the feet or the ankles into your hands, and lift up into bow pose. So that's your choice. You know that. One more breath, whichever back bend you're in. And then we're going to release down, and we're going to shift back towards pose of a child. Now, you're by the wall, so see if you can, you guys who are there, walk your feet back to touch the wall with your toes, and then shift into your child's pose. So you're right there, tips of the toes at the wall. Let yourself bring your arms wherever's comfortable. So You may want to have your arms soft overhead, or you may want to bring them back alongside your legs. Remember, you don't shift your hips back any farther than feels good for you. Let it feel great. Full, deep, even breaths. Good. And now, we'll bring our arms forward. We're going to come onto our forearms. And you have your feet right there at the wall to lift up into dolphin. So you can let yourself lift up. Heels can be into the wall there, up the baseboard. Just make sure your feet are fairly comfortable. And you know, this is your playtime. I know a lot of you love to lift a leg up the wall. You can let yourself come into one leg up the wall. You can switch and do the other. You can walk your legs up so that both feet are up the wall if you choose. Working towards your forearm stand. Totally unnecessary, and you know it. So you come into where you're able to be. Remember, sometimes going up more than once, like if you get tired and you come down and rest, if you go up again, you know, sometimes you find different things, especially maybe the third time, if you want to know the truth. Third time's the charm, maybe, right? So, or maybe not. So, take your time. If you know that you don't want to do any more of this inversion and you need to come down and rest, you know you rest however you need. Whether it's resting in child's pose or resting with your head above your heart. Just be mindful. Good. And take your time. Finish the one you're on. If you're still up there, see if you can come down and rest for a couple breaths. Because we are going to make our way on around to sitting once you're done resting. So just be easy as you come to bring your legs on around in front of you. Stretch them out. Grab a blanket if you need to, all right? And then we're just going to play a little bit with a little bit of a forward bend. So bring your right knee in. Remember, I don't mirror here. See if you can bring your leg in closer so that you can actually hook your arm behind, right there in front of your knee, right? Your right arm just comes over to hook. If that's not possible for your knee, keep it there. Keep your hand there, right? And then from there, we're going to reach the left arm up long and come over into a little tiny side stretch. So really let yourself feel your left heel on the floor, your left sitting bone drawing down. Breathe into that left side. Good. And then release the left arm down, and we're going to come forward. Now, if possible, if your leg's up here close to you, you might be able to bring your right arm in front of that leg. And you can even put your hand on the floor, both hands on the floor if you want. Now, to come forward, this right sit bone needs to rise up off the floor a little bit. So you're not trying to push the right sit bone, this bent leg sit bone, into the ground. And I mean, you can reach out for your foot with your left hand or both hands if you want. I actually like to use the upper right arm right there in front of my shin. And man, oh man, that is a deep hip stretch, right? So be mindful. If you're a rapper, you can put that right hand around behind you and your left hand, and they can meet back there if you like to do that bind, right? That is just so not good for some people. So it's only if it feels good for you. So you're coming forward, you're keeping this leg in towards you as you come forward. So that right knee is not coming out to the side, it's still reaching up. Nice. We're going to come on back up from there. We're going to stretch our right leg out. You already feel the difference, right? Bring your left leg in. Again, you can keep it lower, hand on it. You can bring yourself forearm to hook your elbow around that knee. This time, right arm comes up overhead, and then we're going to come to the left a little bit into that side stretch for the right side of the body. Feel your right heel on the floor. So you're very engaged. Feel your right sitting bone into the ground. So it doesn't look like a lot, but it's a deep feeling side stretch here. So one more breath. And then come on back up. Bring your hands down. And again, this is up to you. To think of coming forward, this sit bone, this hip comes up, right? You can put your left upper arm in front of your shin. Give yourself a little help that way. This knee is not opening out to the side, remember. And again, you can reach down for your foot with both hands or one hand. You can wrap this left hand to where it comes behind you. Send your right hand over there and let your hands hold each other back there. Again, that bind is so not for everybody. Some people it feels great. It like really feels like it's opening your hip big time. So don't push it. Good. We're going to slowly come back up out of that. Stretch your legs out in front of you. Bring your hands back behind you. And just lean back into the hands turning so the fingertips kind of go back towards the wall behind you. And just open your chest here. Let it feel really good. You can look up if your neck allows you, or you can let your gaze come more towards where the wall meets the ceiling if that feels better for your neck. So you don't want stress. You want it to feel really good. And you can decide here. Come back up a little bit. Decide for, if you thought about lifting your hips up for a reverse plank, how do you want your hands to turn? Do you want your fingertips to face towards your feet? Do you want your fingertips to stay facing back towards the wall behind you? When you lift up, you know, right? So you can tell how your shoulders feel. You don't have to lift up for long. You can come up and then come back down and go, that's not for me, I'm not doing it. And you can just rest. Let your wrist release wherever you can. You don't have to lift up at all. And then when you're ready to come down, release to turn your hands, tops of the hands towards the floor. You can just bow your head. Don't push down. You can come forward too if you want to. So if you're a forward bender where it feels like a huge relief, your back stays long and it feels great to fold forward over your legs, by all means do it. If not, stay up, but let the hands turn over and you're still going to find a release for your wrists. Good. We're going to rise on back up from here, and we're going to come down onto our backs, to lie on our backs from here. So take your time, come down to the floor, bring your feet to the floor. Let yourself kind of, if you need to adjust your clothes and stuff, do your masks and everything else, and then just, if you can do a couple little easy pelvic tilts. Let yourself exhale, feel your tailbone curling up a little bit. Let your arms be just beside you. Turn your palms up. Let your shoulders release. Good. And then come back to neutral spine. Let's cross our right ankle above our left knee. Just a figure 4 there. Flex through that right foot. And then draw your left knee in towards your chest. Now you can hold behind your left thigh, or some of you might even want to bend the left knee deeper and hold your shin. So that means that, you're really bending deeper into your knee. That's up to you, whichever feels the best for your hip and your back. Let yourself keep flexing both feet when they're up off the floor. Let your back, your hip, right hip there, feel a nice release. And then, if you were holding your shin, go to hold behind your left thigh and start to extend your left leg long. So, like you're putting a footprint on the ceiling, and if you choose, you can even use your hands to draw the leg a little more in towards you. Just wherever feels good. Opening up through the hip a little deeper, and of course in the back of your leg. And then bend your left knee again, and from here put your left foot back on the floor. Bring your arms out beside you into a T position, palms up. And now from here, just let the legs start to lower to the left for a little twist. Now, when you come down, you might be able to just get that right foot on the floor. You're still in that kind of figure four. Your ankle's still crossed above your knee. And you can just stay right there. If it's not too much, stay there. If it's too much, get a block and put it underneath your outside of your left leg or underneath your foot there. Now, some of you might decide you want to let that right knee come down more towards the floor. You can even use your left hand to draw the knee down towards the floor if you want that twist to come into that part of the body, right? So everybody's different. Just be where you can be. Let it feel good. Good. So one more breath there. And now we're going to start to come back up. You'll want to uncross pretty fast so that you can straighten your spine out. So get yourself again. You might even do a couple of little pelvic tilts there at center. Just take it easy. Get centered out. Get your spine feel like it's back in whack there. And then cross your left ankle above your right knee. Flex through that left foot. And again, if you can, draw that right thigh in towards you. You can hold behind the thigh right here, or you can hold your shin. Flex through both feet. Enjoy feeling the ground underneath you. Let yourself just almost melt down into the floor as you start to let yourself release in your hips, your shoulders, your back. And then hold behind that right thigh so that you can extend the leg up longer. You can still have the knee bent. You don't have to have it straight. You can straighten it if you want. Again, if you like drawing the leg in closer to you because that feels good, you can reach up for your foot or just keep holding behind the leg. Good. And then we're going to bend that knee again. Bring the foot back down, right foot to the floor. Stretch your arms out into that T. And the legs are going to come over to the right. And again, you can grab a block and put it underneath the outside of your right leg there. You can bring the leg all the way down, the foot to the floor. You can keep the knee kind of up, like it's reaching up a little bit. Or you may decide you want to lower that knee down closer towards the ground. Good. So one more breath. And as you start to come up, go ahead and uncross your legs and bring your feet to the floor and shift around. Do whatever you need to do. Like if you need to roll up into rolling bridges, or you feel like you want to bring your knees in and do a little happy baby or Baddha Konasana or a wide angle there on your back. In other words, pay attention really right now to what your body is really craving to do. And it will. Once you come into moving a little bit, your body will just kind of lead you where it wants to go. Be mindful if you need to do any other pose. It doesn't have to be a yoga pose, you know that. If you need to do a different kind of a stretch or a movement of any kind, do it. I'm starting to get the lights, and I'll come around to get more and to grab blankets or bolsters. Anybody wants a blanket? I'm just going to unfold it.
Just roll it over.
Bolster. Got it. So, I'm coming around. You're welcome. Take your time. You know, if you get down there and you're like, oh my gosh, this does not feel so good today, and you need something, let me know. And those of you at home, let yourself, if you need a blanket for cover, if you need a little bit of support underneath your knees, you can always roll a blanket up or do like a, pillows are harder unless it's firm, but just take your time, adjust as you need to, and let yourself just start to relax into your breath. So letting your breath come in and go out. Nothing you need to do except just watch your breath. Your breath will start to become a little quieter. It changes though throughout, so just be okay with letting the breath come in and go out the way it needs, and you just keep bringing your focus back to that breath. Allowing the quietness to come into your mind and your body. And letting yourself completely and fully relax. yourself come back to feeling like you want to move again once your breath brings you there. And fingers and toes, hands and feet, starting with your extremities so that you can gradually move on up, and let your arms, your legs, when you're ready, move the way you need. You might even want to let your head roll a little side to side. Just take your time. And you know, you're welcome to stay on your back. You're welcome to roll onto either your right or your left side into a soft fetal position if you're comfortable to do that. Just feeling supported by the ground a little bit longer, feeling cradled by the floor. And when you do feel like you're ready to rise up, float your way up so that you feel soft. Even as you come up to sitting, you can feel really like the spine is supporting you. You feel your sitting bones reaching down, the top of your head reaching up. You can release your hands to a place where your shoulders feel nice and wide and open. Letting your eyes stay gently closed so you stay inwardly focused a little bit longer, just watching your breath again now that you have your head up above your heart. And on your next exhale, allow your hands gently to come to meet in front of your chest. And wishing each one of you a very joyful day. Namaste.
Namaste.